Hey guys, what's going on? So, I was already planning on making this video anyway. This was going to be like my next video as of this battle that I had last night when I was just randomly playing and didn't care about my rating. But then I got this question 3 hours ago, basically when I woke up. And it says, yo, I got a question. Can I use Reaper as support or main damage? And I was already going to make this video anyway. So in prep for my tier list for commons, rares, and epics, I believe like 70% to 30%, something in that area, like a majority, said that I should make a tier list for commons, rares, and epics. And in preparation for that, I decided to do a bunch of games with different commons, rares, and epics that I thought could make like a tier list. That could be like, oh my god, this is so much better because it has talents now, or different talents, in the case of Priestess. Priestess did fine. I did 800 million. It didn't feel great. It didn't feel like I was doing an amazing amount of damage, and I don't feel like I could have pushed this deck anymore. And in terms of like, oh, what is this deck? I'll get into that. I then tried Zealot. 85 million. It was not great. Please don't play Zealot. Zealot is going to be very far down on my list. And then I did, this one, they surrendered to me. I didn't understand why. Maybe because they had 3000 crit, but they have a max monk, and I'm playing a Reaper DPS deck. I didn't think that they should have immediately quit. And then I played against this person, and I did, 186, but I just couldn't get, the flow of what I wanted to do, and so I definitely lost against this Max Inquisitor, right? 4,000 crit. I mean, I didn't expect to win this, level 16 J. And then I played against this one, and this is the one that we're going to be watching. It has less crit than me, obviously, and so that is a factor. But he does have a Max Inquisitor, Max Knight Statue, Max Sharpshooter. He's running Executioner, which is interesting. I don't think I would run Executioner. And he only has the 2 talents for his Scrapper, so he's missing the Acrid Waste. And so essentially what this deck is the new deck that everybody is running. It's a Spirit Master deck. It is no longer going to be called a Blade Dancer setup, Floral Frenzy Blade Dancer deck. It is now just a Spirit Master deck. Literally, everybody is running this in any kind of variation that you can imagine, because it is basically the best setup for a deck right now. You have a little bit of wiggle room with your 2 supports, but essentially it is a DPS unit, a Knight Statue, a Scrapper, and then your 2 support units. And because you're able to infinitely grow your growth tiles, and you're able to infinitely grow your Knight Statue, that's all you do for the entire game. You just grow your growth tiles, and then you grow your Knight Statue stacks. And that's all you do for the entire game. And it's every game is the same. I decided to run Harlequin. That obviously could be something else, and I probably could have done more damage. The ideal setup is some combination of Trapper, Chemist, Witch, Banshee, Sharpshooter, any of those. And those are your 2 support cards, and then you just run it. You run it like what was originally a Blade Dancer deck. You do the double T setup. And then you have the 2 Knight Statues, you have the one in the center, you have the 2 in the center that are currently not in the center. That's basically what I'm trying to do right now. I really lucked out with the triple, growth tiles, but I am gonna utilize the growth tile in the middle to both grow my growth tile stacks and stack Knight Statue stacks. And essentially, that's all I'm doing for the entirety of this game. I'm copying, everything that I need, and that's why I was specifically running Harlequin. I got really tired of not being able to have everything in place just immediately, because with the Reaper deck, you need... this is Reaper DPS, obviously. You need to set up, because you need to start growing those growth tile stacks. You cannot survive on just like a level 1 Reaper, you know, in the same way that like you could survive off of a level 1 Spirit Master and, you know, kill the first boss no matter what it is. You could survive off of a Blade Dancer, a singular Blade Dancer. Even some Demon Hunter decks are now adopting this deck as well. Just take out Reaper, put in Demon Hunter, you're good to go. So the question was, do I think that Reaper can be used as a DPS card, or is it just support? I don't think that you should look at Reaper as a DPS card. I have 4,000 crit. I have a max Reaper. I have a max Night Statue. I have a max Scrapper. I'm doing as much damage as I'm doing because of all of those factors. And I have to assume that for you, if you are looking at Reaper as a DPS card, it's because you probably have a max Reaper and a level 7 Blade Dancer. I would invest into any other legendary. I think that, and this goes for all my commons, rares, and epics. For the most part, with maybe the exception of Sharpshooter, and I say maybe because Jay is a very nerfed hero right now, they nerfed the Crackshot ability so hard, and that was specifically the reason why Jay was so good. You could just put anything with fast attack on a J tile and you would get so many activations of the arrow. And it didn't matter that the arrow did less than the regular activated ability. The constant barrage of arrows that you got from your high attack speed unit was insanity, and that's why that deck was able to put up the numbers that it was putting up. Now, you don't get as many activations, and so your damage is severely weakened. It's still good in the sense that you get your 40% tiles, but it's not going to be good in the sense that most of the damage before that it was doing was from the Crackshot ability, and even though you are getting some Crackshot ability still, it's not even close to what it used to be. But with that being said, I do think that if you are trying to make any of these commons, rares, and epics DPS units, even like some of them are, right? The aforementioned Priestess, Reaper, Sharpshooter, right? Zealot, all of these, Crystalmancer, all of these have the ability to be DPS units. But my problem with that is that once you get a legendary, you will never use these again. And that's to say that I wouldn't even use this as a support card because, like I said, the aforementioned I said, the support cards to use are all legendary, with the exception of Chemist. Chemist is going to be ranked very highly on my tier list. But you should be running Trapper, Chemist, Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter is also very good as a support card specifically. Sharpshooter, Witch, Banshee. Those are your support cards. You should not be using Reaper as a support card, and and here's why. So Reaper, as you can see, does a lot of damage, or does a lot of insta-kill. But right here, I can't kill, for the life of me, these non-regular monsters. You don't kill mini-bosses with Reaper. Mini-bosses and bosses cannot be insta-killed, which means that you have to deal damage. I have a max Reaper, a max Night Statue with the attack, with the defense down. I have a Trapper with the defense down. I have Scrapper with the defense down. Look how hard it is for me to kill, like, I just, like, nuked that boss, but look how hard it is for me to kill a Bannerlord. We're on wave 6, this is double bosses, I have 217 stacks. For the most part, it becomes very difficult over the course of the game to kill mini-bosses. And the mini-bosses are going to make your boss round harder. And the whole thing about bosses, and the reason why you might think that Reaper is good, is because, oh, well, if you keep insta-killing everything, like I am right now, right? If you keep insta-killing the waves, then your boss round will be easier. But the problem with that is that your bosses, even if you kill everything, your bosses, over the course of the game, still gain more health. They have less health because you killed the wave, but they still grow in health, as with the mini bosses. So even though you are technically doing instant kill damage, it's not even percent damage, you're doing insta-kill damage. The distinct difference between insta-kill damage and percent damage is that eventually your Reaper still has to do damage. And despite having 305 stacks, I'm pretty sure I maxed out at 1 billion damage. Again, this is 4K crit. This is a max Knight Statue. This is max Scrapper with the Acrid Waste. This is like a level 10 Trapper. I have a level 5 and a level 4 Trapper on the field. I have a level 6 Reaper. I have 2 level 5s. I have another level 6. And look how much I'm struggling already. This is a 25 million health boss. And I almost get bedlammed. It's not great. It's fine, and I can make it look good because of all of my modifiers, and because this deck is so good, just in general. But what happens is, over the course of the game, because it's not percentage damage, and because you're the damage that you're gaining off of your Reaper stacks, I'm at 406 stacks right now. Look how difficult it is for me to kill this Bannerlord. I eventually kill it, but look how difficult it is. I have Trapper out. I have, 440 stacks. It doesn't matter. I have a Knight Statue that's doing defense down. It doesn't matter. I think that it's very strong. It's obviously much better than what it used to be. But being much better than it used to be doesn't mean that it's passable, as, like that you should focus all of your resources into building a Reaper DPS deck, as opposed to literally just substituting this for any other legendary card. And I can understand that if you have like a level 15 Reaper, like you want to be very excited about using Reaper in like a DPS, in a DPS kind of way. But what I'm telling you is that if you decided to literally just build this entire deck, you will get 1 billion damage. Or you could sub out Reaper, put in Blade Dancer, deal 10 billion damage, deal 12 billion damage. The damage output from a normal, like a regular legendary DPS card is far superior than what you could be doing with a lesser common rare epic card. And that's really the difference. People are trying to push common rares and epics as if they are legendaries, like a Crystalmancer, like a Reaper, like a Priestess, saying that you could get these insane numbers with commons, rares, and epics. And you can, because, 1.5 billion damage is very strong. I have 4,500 crit. And I can barely get 1.5 billion. Whereas if I substituted this, if I just took out Reaper and used a Spirit Master, I believe I just did what is technically the most damage I've ever done with a Spirit Master deck. I want to see if I can find it. Maybe I can find it. I want to say that it was like 19 billion damage. It was like something very high. This is an 11 billion damage game. And the deck that lost was if you look at it, it's the same exact thing. Sub out Reaper, put in a Blade Dancer, you're doing 12 billion damage. You can push Reaper DPS, you can push Crystalmancer DPS, you can attempt to push Priestess DPS, but my question to you is why? Like, why are you trying so hard to make a bad card good? Like, I could sub this out and put Wind Archer, but you'd look at me like I was crazy, right? And that's how I look at somebody putting in a Reaper, or somebody putting in a Crystalmancer into what should be a Spirit Master deck, or a Blade Dancer deck, or a Light Inquisitor deck, or a Demon Hunter deck. Just invest in legendaries, because you have to. You cannot use these cards as DPS cards. You can, but why? Like, my question to you would be why? And I also don't think that Reaper is good enough as a support card. because I think that all of those other cards outclass it. But yeah, that's my thoughts.